When divorce happens, there is usually feelings of anger, hurt, and resentment. Most times, a hurt spouse's way to get revenge is to take as much as possible from his or her ex. And the next thing to take after money is the control of the children. Today in the studio, we have Andres Riata, who is going to share his ordeal as a result of parental alienation. Andres, welcome.
Thank you.
In my introduction, I made it clear that we are not here to play any witch hunting. We are here to inform, educate people on these social life. I don't know the word to even use when people use children against their exes, and we are coming from a place of good heart, because I know you've forgiven whoever had done it. You have healed. If you have not healed, you will not have come on the set. And guys, Andres has played an important role with the setup of my studio. Someone will ask, why are you holding on to trying to see your daughter? But they don't know the story about who you are. You are one of the big sound engineers in, LA, Hollywood. You worked in the Hollywood industry before you left to Sweden,
Yes.
cold Sweden.
Yes.
So who is Andres?
Who's Andres?
Yeah.
Andres is a little bit of everything.
Yeah,
At the core, I believe I'm the same person since I was born.
Okay.
At 8 months. I think I came out 1 month early. I always like to say that I was born ready. Or when people ask me to leave somewhere, I said, when they say, "Are you ready?" I say, "I was born ready. I came out at 8 months. I didn't want to wait that one extra one." I believe I've lived in different places, so I believe from every place I've adapted. I've tried to take the best part of that culture, and that is what has made me. Of course, I'm imperfect like every human being, a work in progress, but I strive to be my best version every single day so that I can also be at my best for others, especially for my daughter, my close friends, and family. It's very important to, you need to replenish yourself first every day so that you can give back to others. So it's a little bit of that, and then where do you want to take it from there? I think one of the most fun parts in life has been, of course, living in Los Angeles and Hollywood. It's a very, very magical place.
Yeah.
And as the saying goes, nothing is free in life. But I did put a lot of hard work. As soon as I moved to Hollywood, my early 20s. And that very, very hard work, it got me places. I made it a point to become. There's a reason they say, the 1% get to the top. Out of 100 persons, 99 people or 98 will not be able to put that hard work.
Okay.
So when you want to get to the top of anything, usually you will have. They always say there's always room at the top. Very few are willing to put that work. So yeah, that took me a bit into film, TV, and music. The most consistent part of that was about 8 years of working every single day for the music industry, and I loved every single day. When I went to sleep, I wished that I could sleep faster, that I could make time go by faster.
To the studio.
Because I just wanted to go back, to work, I was hoping, can I make these 8 hours go in in 4 hours? Just to get back to work. So it was magical to be there making records.
Okay. I know love moved you from Hollywood, dream that every creative person would love to be into Sweden. So how did the story unfold for you to move?
Well, there's two. Sweden tried to get me twice. The first time it missed. I had my college girlfriend.
Okay.
She was Swedish, a very, very nice girl.
Sweden has always been.
There must be some kind of magnet there. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, my first girlfriend, unfortunately, I met her through college. I had finished my recording school after the music school. I had just gotten a a job at a music recording studio, a very, very nice one, making TV commercials, radio commercials at the moment. And there's no way I would leave to Sweden, so I broke that relationship. That was my, unfortunately, we ended in a good ways, but I was just not willing to move to Sweden. And this is almost like a joke because in my mind, I had the brand new job as a recording engineer for a big studio in Hollywood. And then I thought, do I want to go to Sweden, work for IKEA, drive a Volvo, and shovel snow? And I thought about, I tend to have a humorous and sarcastic view in life. I believe it makes me live in a happy way and, come up with funny things to say. But it's funny because the second time now when I met, one of my life partners, my ex-wife, the mother of my child, I also didn't want to move to Sweden from Los Angeles, but somehow she convinced me. It's a difficult moment. She got very emotional. She didn't want to separate. We had just gotten married, so something clicked. Okay, I will give it a try. I don't want to see a grown woman crying, in a public place. I said, okay, I'll do it. We moved there, and here's the punchline of that. This long story I'm trying to take. To say basically is that my ex-mother-in-law, she called me one day and she said, hey, I found a job for you in IKEA. And we had just bought a Volvo. And I thought, no. This is like a joke from the karma of life. This is almost like a joke on myself. That's what I get for the joke I made on myself 10 years ago. And I said, no, thank you. I'll drive the Volvo. I will shovel the snow, but not the IKEA job. Of course, nobody got that. Was internal.
Okay.
But yeah, like I said, we moved because we do a lot of things in life for love. And, of course, as human beings, we should. I think that's it's the quality of a good human being. We should always sacrifice for family, for close friends, or, of course, for children when you're a parent. But for the loved one, even if it passes by, you should be proud that at that moment in life, you did give things a try. And also, we never know where a new experience, a new country can take us. I've traveled a lot, over 50 countries, and many of them I've visited many times. And I still think it's very little. There's 200 countries out there to explore, I need to collect some more.
I mean, I don't want us to delve so much on the negativity in the relationship.
No.
I mean, what have you learned as a man after your divorce and in relationship with people, be it your romantic life affair, or what have you learned in life?
What have I learned?
Yeah.
You're saying with my ex?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this is difficult to talk about in a way, but the reason I'm here is because I'm here to tell a story, not for me, but in a way it's to, I believe in telling my story more than anything for justice for my daughter.
Yeah.
But I believe that it can also reflect in other people. By talking, they may feel reflected, and the goal is to help them. But
before we're having this discussion, you made a phrase that in every relationship we should not take it for granted.
No.
We should have an act of forgiveness. We should always, it's like you said, you used it. I want you to say it in your own words.
Yes, I did say that earlier today off camera, that I believe that to have a good relationship, we should never take it for granted. Unfortunately, with a lot of relationships, they fail after a while because we get too used to the person, or we think they're always going to be there. And I believe every day you need to renew love. You need to work a little bit for it. I mean, we pay bills, we clean our home every day. We need maintenance in our cars and our bicycles. Why wouldn't we do that into the relationship on a daily basis? And it needs to be worked. It needs to be proven every day that you deserve each other. Not every day you're going to have the 100%, the cup full of love. Sometimes you will feel less, but you have to keep going. The next day will renew.
I mean, Andres, your experience with narcissism took you from that creative, bubbly person into more of a depressed person.
Well, I wouldn't say it took me to a depressed person, but if I wouldn't be who I am, I would have been very depressed. Okay. I will say that I did have depressed moments and depressed days. Dealing with narcissism, I'm grateful that my mother was a psychology major. She taught me many things. She taught me also child psychology at an early age, just by hearing her teaching other friends. But narcissism, I read even more about it on my separation, and it's something very, very, something you must be careful with. I mean, a lot of suicides happen from people that are married to a narcissist if they stay for a long time, because they end up suffering in silence. And of course, you have different types. If we get to a borderline personality type with having narcissism inside, they can be very dangerous, and only one or two persons, the close ones, will know. They usually have this ego, this mask to the daily world, and it's so difficult because they will have their little group. In psychology, I mean, I've heard this expression many times, the flying monkeys. They will have a little circus of 3 persons, usually 4 or 5 at the most. Usually it's about 3 from what I've read, that they truly believe in this person because they see only that one side.
So, Andres, I would say you are a great father.
Thank you.
Because I'm talking from experience. I was lucky to have my dad around, living, but I did not have a dad who was willing to be there for me. And growing up, I can say my mom did the best for me, gave me the best education. She did all the best for me, but I was always yearning for a fatherly love. And I always say my mom is a great woman. Even though growing up, I got to know some of the stuff that she went through with my dad, she always made sure, as a child, I loved my father. It was when growing up that I experienced it for myself, and I was able to make choices whether to love him or to like him or to hate him or to dislike him.
Right.
And I would say I was a lost child when I was a kid because I lacked that fatherly love, so I was always yearning for it. And it took me to places that I wasn't supposed to be as a child. But it's also made me timid as a child, and it took me constant struggle to get to where I am now.
I understand.
So I know the importance both parents play in a child's life. That is why I was like, look, this interview is going to be something that we should talk about. Andres, I know this whole experience has taken you to even study child psychology. And I would like you to briefly explain what parental alienation is.
Well, yeah, parental alienation is usually when one of the parents basically decides to just cut off the other parent as much as possible. And usually it will start, sometimes, I mean, it may start softly. Like in my case, I call many times to speak with my daughter, and I have gotten text messages that say, never call me again. And then when it's on her terms, she will make my daughter call me if, But I spoke with her last Sunday for over an hour and a half, but before that it was about 5 weeks since November until now. We're in March at the moment of recording this. So during all this time, I've seen her only twice for 3 hours each one. And we have a little girl that since she's 4, she has been telling me sometimes it hurts as a father, but for her to touch her heart when she was 4 and to say, Daddy, I miss you sometimes, it hurts. It hurts here, and I cry to go to sleep sometimes. That is very difficult as a father to hear that. And unfortunately, I've been fighting a system in Sweden of the social services, which I guess also for her being Swedish, it was easy for her to understand the mentality and to basically just gain them 100% and put them against me. Coming from a very different mentality, the American mentality of speaking the truth, being more proactive. In Sweden, it's the opposite.
Okay.
It's more, they don't want you to take action and to be, you're almost not supposed to show emotions. So it gets difficult, but Yeah, with the parental alienation, it gets really difficult, and you must be careful. Anybody out there going through this, do not give up, because even as tough as it gets, your child does need you. Because if you give up, that child may go 3 months that maybe turn into 3 years now. And that child eventually will think, my daddy or my mommy doesn't want to see me, because it's what they will hear at home. So the reason I say don't give up, even if you don't see them for 2 months, for 5 months, that moment that you see them again, it will keep renewing that energy. And every time I see my daughter, I basically tell her, look, baby, even if we don't, I don't know when we will see each other again. I tell her, but daddy will always, always find a way to find you again. We will meet again. We will see each other again. And I always tell her, if you miss me a lot, if you're sad, if you're ever scared, just touch your heart. Think of daddy. And I will be thinking about you at the same time. I mean, she calls me Papa Leon in Swedish, which means basically Papa Lion.
Papa Lion.
And of course, this is a legal process that I'm going through, which I will not stop. I'm going through my second custody trial in a few days, flying back to Sweden for it. It's a battle. I wish the term battle wasn't used, but all the lawyers call it that. They call it a custody battle.
Yeah.
And also, it may seem small, but to help my daughter's psychology. Her name is Victoria. And I basically have taught her that we have Victoria's Army. So I've named her many people that are part of my close and extended circle, that they love her. They love her, and they can't wait for us to be reunited again.
Okay.
So in her mind, she doesn't see daddy just alone. She really, children can be very visual. That's why they love stories. And it's wonderful. It's wonderful.
Before you share your personal experience with the Swedish social service system regarding betrayal and disinformation, I would like my viewers to watch this. Parental alienation can have some devastating effects on children, sometimes even through to adulthood, and very important to try to prevent this. Parental alienation can cause anxiety and depression. Children want to love both parents. When they are unable to freely do this, it causes a strain on their emotional ability to function. It could be confusing for a child to assess what is right and what is wrong. The confusion may lead the child lonely, cause anxiety issues, and severe depression. Parental alienation could bring fear. Parental alienation may make the child feel rejected by a parent. This may develop into fear, which could aggravate as the child gets older. Lack of focus can be caused by parental alienation. When a child is disturbed, they may have trouble in focusing. They might not seem present for activities they used to love. Some of them could even lose interest in school, thereby resulting in bad grades. And lastly, parental alienation can cause low self-esteem. Not getting proper care and deserved attention from both parents may make the child doubt themselves. Welcome back, guys. Back to my question before we went on to the footage. Can you share your personal experience with the Swedish social service system regarding betrayal and disinformation?
Absolutely. It has been very difficult. And to be honest, I am being put on a place where people are asking me actually to go forward, to go to the world and to narrate these stories. One problem with Swedish culture is that it's a very contained culture. I've studied a lot about the history and the sociology of Sweden to understand this. There's an internal unspoken law called Jantelagen. It means Jante's law, that everybody should be the same. You're never supposed to speak up. You're never supposed to complain about the country and the government. And in modern society in Sweden, it must change, because we realize now, as a Swedish citizen now that I also am, besides American, we realize that it destroys lives, especially children. Each person is an individual character. You cannot cut them like a factory just for the sake of preserving.
Can't cut them like a factory, yeah.
No, we're not a factory. Each brain, each soul is an individual person with a gift for life. You cannot take that away. Yeah. As far as the social services, they have been has been very, very surreal at some point. It has felt almost like the experience of going back in history to Eastern Germany. Very, very controlling. And like I said, it has been very surreal. I have had to study family law.
Is it because maybe your social worker is being difficult, or it's more of like something that is going on? I hope there are good social workers there, or it's because it's of your case, that is why you are saying there's a lot of disinformation and stuff going on there, or it's just people are complaining about it. If you can throw more light into that.
Yeah, no, it's definitely not just my case. Of course, that's what I thought at the beginning until I reached out to other people. I ended up finding out that there were dozens and then hundreds and then thousands of cases. I'm a member of 7 nonprofits. I have started my own nonprofit because I was advised by a social worker, a male social worker, to start my own nonprofit in my city to get help. There's many factors to say. So it's a very complex subject, but like I said, Swedes do not speak up in general. The media tends to shy away from putting anything that would make the state look bad.
Okay.
And the media is state-sponsored, so we get several things. And I think also, unfortunately, on this to try to give something good, I always try to look for good and bad in everything. To try to give a good point to social workers, I think a lot of them are getting too many cases. They're handling it almost like a factory. They have these pre-planned things. So basically, if you go to look for help, instead of getting help, you get into more trouble now, and you get stuck in a system where they actually call them contracts between different departments. It's almost like they're selling these contracts to each other, signing them off from one person to the other. And in a way, it guarantees their jobs. But they get overloaded with work, and they're not having enough time to pay attention to it.
To details, yeah.
So it's many things, and it's an entire system of a part of the government that should be basically completely redone, because from the beginning, I have a wonderful child psychologist that she completely said from the beginning that this little girl must live half the time with her dad. Social service had already made up their mind. This is also part of the Swedish mentality. Unfortunately, once they make a decision, it's a culture that will never accept a mistake. They never want to look dumb. It is a cultural thing, I have noticed, and they never want to backtrack once they make a decision. It's part of the ego. It's part of the built-in. It would make them look dumb. So again, once they made a bad choice about me, unfortunately, even if they saw it later, they don't backtrack. So now I'm stuck in this one long tunnel. The only way out is to try to have another custody trial and another one. And I'm just hoping my little girl gets out of this tunnel with me as soon as possible.
Yeah. I know not only are you battling with the Swedish social service system, I know you're having support from good Swedish people as well.
Yes.
So it's making you a little bit stay optimistic.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So can you share some strategies and techniques for staying positive and hopeful during these difficult times? I know there are some people who are also facing these challenges. A lot of
I heard a saying once, and it stuck with me. It's a very strong saying. I heard the saying once that it says life will hit you harder at some point than anybody else ever would.
Yeah.
So you have to keep going no matter what. And sure, divorce, death, or child custody can be big things. So you have to look into yourself, replenish the bucket. One of the main things I do daily is get up and meditate. I even do meditation. Like I said, my ex, at some point, it's the narcissism they turn against you. It's not easy, but sometimes I have done the meditation to send full, unconditional love to this person, and it's very cleansing. Because if you have somebody that somehow has turned from love to hate, but if you still, in your mind, it works with psychology and with meditation. If you try to just send pure love, it's cleansing for you. You don't hold any grudges, which I never tried to. But sure, meditation, keeping active. I've always kept up with music since childhood. That's how I ended up in Hollywood, working for all these big studios, but I've continued producing music always. I have some through my website, and I've been expanding my life now to Denmark. Since I have access to a bigger city with more people, with more musicians, it's been a lot of fun the last year. Producing music, martial arts, the gym. But I would say probably the number one is meditation.
Yeah.
And also be careful what you eat. It's okay for all of us. It's okay to drink a little bit, whatever you need, but nothing should ever control you. You know, keep your mind, body, and soul healthy. And meditation is the one I can really recommend daily.
Yeah.
One more thing that I think it's very, very useful. I love to do this every day. I journal.
Okay, that's good.
So
I
I
started
write.
mine this year, which is really helpful. Yeah.
I highly recommend it. I journal, but I also follow a pattern that I've designed myself through years from different things. It's these 9 or 10 lines very quickly. I do it very automatically. I can do it in 3 minutes, and I revisit my goal for the year, quarterly, for the month, for the week, and then I put 3 important goals for the day. That's it.
I know because of this, you've connected with a lot of people, and there have been some inspiring stories that you've learned, you've heard. Can you share some of the inspiring stories so that when someone who is watching you, who is hopeless, can take up that mantle and go like, I'm going to fight for it?
Well, I mean, I have to be realistic. It's not an easy process. I have heard of some people taking about 10 years to fight through this. But like I said, I've heard of many, many stories, and I've heard also, it is known, with people that are going through this, it is known internationally that Sweden and Norway have gotten very, very difficult as far as the social services being very, very harsh with some cases. There's a famous, there's a movie with a famous Indian actress. It's out there, and this one is about Norway. It's about how she went there as an immigrant to work. And she basically ended up having to fight a lot because they took her children away. And eventually she won, but she had to get the entire government, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. So like I said, it's not easy, but the one optimistic thing that I can say, it's a way that I've said before, you cannot give up, because giving up, it would be giving up your children. And I have been told many times by close friends, and at some point even by my father when he saw me in a moment of danger. This is another story, but it's involving the Swedish SWAT team for no reason, just because I was trying to leave the country to separate from my ex. She sent the SWAT team and had me attacked just so that I wouldn't get on an airplane the next day, because I wanted to separate.
Andres, any closing advice for anyone going through this? This channel is all about a lifestyle channel. We are in for both mental health and emotional health is really, really important in this new selfish world that we live in.
Right.
Where people just think about themselves. I know someone watching us will go like, look, I'm going through this. I've gone through as a child, and I know how it's really impacted my life. Yeah, my dad is no more. I'm tempted not to say this, but I don't miss him. It's just because I was yearning for that love. I couldn't have it. And it's quite deep. It's quite deep. If I was yearning for him, I did not get so any advice, because to be honest, every child deserves to be loved by both parents. And you use that word, children are not like factories that you cut off their operations and go like, let's move it to this next factory. So any advice to conclude this whole, it's a conversation now.
Absolutely. Yeah. Like I said, it's about never giving up, but I have met many people in this, mostly fathers, but I've met some mothers also. From the outside, it's really difficult to understand if you haven't been a parent. As parents, we are meant to protect these children with our lives. I have actually said to social services directly, at some point I have said, all the 30, 40 people involved in this, you cannot stop me. You can only slow me down. I mean, I would naturally protect my daughter from my wild animal. I would get in the way. But what I would say is keep going. I have seen some people very, very depressed. I call them, I follow up on them sometimes. Some of them don't get back to me for 3 weeks, some for 3 months. But there's always something you can do. There's one person that I know, one father who has made a website writing songs for his daughter that he cannot see. I know one mother that has also made a website explaining. In her case, she's detailing the story. I know that she would allow me to say this, but anybody's welcome to look at it. The title, it's quite dark, but it's because it's telling a true story. It's called darksweden.com, darksweden.com. She had a lot of trouble for years, but the reason I'm mentioning that some people get depressed and some choose to fight and some may get depressed at first and then fight. Keep going. Sometimes we don't know life will put a big obstacle in our way. We can either let that take us down or we can break through that and you will become stronger. I promise. It may be a long fight, but you will become a better person. And sometimes we get put these obstacles to be stronger, but to leave a legacy behind, sometimes by learning. In my case, I have learned about the Swedish laws, European laws, European Union, and about the Court of Human Rights for children and for families. So I have become much stronger than what I was 2 years ago because I've learned all these laws. I've joined 7 nonprofits. I'm out there helping a lot of books. And when I mention legacy, I'm writing a book about this experience because at some points it has been so surreal that I would have never expected it. That's how I'm letting this energy out in a book to publish it. So like I said, never give up in life. We will always get something. There's always beauty in life, but every once in a while we will get something strong. The obstacle is the way. It's a very old Latin saying. We must break through. Sometimes the obstacle is what can save us or make us better and stronger, wiser once we get to the other side. And that's what we need to share with other human beings. It's a way of being loving and strong.
As I said earlier on, we come in peace. And Andres, I hope this, you call it battle, I hope it will resolve in peace and harmony. I will wish that my prayers and hope will wish that everything will be settled amicably that you have a chance to be with your daughter. I like to do things in a peaceful way. So whoever is watching and you're using such things to or to punish your ex or whatever, it's time to forgive. Sometimes it's good to forgive, and forgiveness is divine.
Absolutely.
So, as you said, we come in peace. Thank you very much for sharing.
Thank you so much. I have, if I may, I have one beautiful statement that just came to my mind to close. I would love to give, and it's the fact that truth and love will always win. Always. You can repeat a lie 1,000 times. Each time you may have to modify to repeat it. But the truth, you don't need to remember it. It's always there. Peace and love are very strong, and it will always win. So thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. Guys, thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment in the comment section. This is real life stuff. And hope to see you again. Bye.